I'm Aiden Bryant.
I'm Garen Roseborough. Welcome back to Tribal Studios. Willard High School has changed their finals policy.
Aiden Helms and Veda Stacy tell us more.
Final season is coming up, and this year administration has made some changes to the policy.
We made a change to finals this year in an effort to see what students know, and also just kind of change the way we do things as far as how we take a look at it. Typically finals are finals. If it's the root cause. The whole point of a comprehensive final is to see what a student knows over the course of an entire semester. With learning and student learners, does a final give a clear-cut scope of what a student knows? And that research would show that the answer is no.
I feel like if I already have a good grade in the class and I know the final isn't going to be make or break, then I'm just not going to study for it at all. I think a lot of the finals are not like good finals, so I just don't think I'll study for it.
If it's changing our grade, then it's going to be more motivation to actually study and try for it. If it's not and there's essentially no point in doing it, then I don't see a lot of reason.
So the finals policy itself is students, are expected to take it. All students will take finals. It is a help, not hurt. And so the motivation for students is knowing that, removing the fear of failure.
In the past, being exempt from finals has kept attendance and grades high, but without that possibility, students' motivations could change drastically.
I liked having good grades in classes and not having to then take a final test on it, so I don't like that we have to take the final no matter what, even if it doesn't hurt us. I think that that's very pointless.
I may choose to come take that final to move my grade from that B+ to that A- because that affects my overall GPA. And ultimately, sometimes we have students who are undermotivated for finals, regardless of what finals policy we put out. And that same percentage is probably still going to be there, unfortunately, but my job is to figure out how to close that gap.
Change the policy back. I think even though it's not affecting me as much as it would have like last year and the years before, but I think again, like with the people that are taking required classes to graduate, I think it's pretty important for us to try and have the motivation, and the new policy just really reduces that.
This has been Veda Stacy
And Aiden Helms, and this is Tribal Studios.
Cooper Tutton back at it again with a segment over the NJROTC drone team.
Then, Aiden Bryant takes us back in time to a 1984 arcade highlight.
Willard High School's NJROTC has a drone program that competes across the state. They recently took first at their own meet. Here's Michael Hartline, the drone team instructor, talking about how it started.
We started the drone program in the summer of 2021 with a focus on developing competitive efforts for our school with other originally Navy JROTC programs in the region.
Student Michael Patch, one of the drone team leads, explains what they do.
So the drone team, we are a program of NJROTC. We go out to other schools, usually during drill meets, and we will fly drones competitively. We have two different specters. We have a speed portion where we're racing, and we have another portion of maneuverability. Both of those have different categories that come with it, and you get scored differently based on which one you are participating in.
Artline divulges how the drone team has grown since its introduction.
So when I first started the program to kind of see if there was an interest in this, I really started with about 5 to 6 students that were invested in showing up to practice. And so when I saw that initial investment and we went to our first competitive effort down at Mountain Home, Arkansas, and we competed, and I will say that from that effort we took first place overall for the events, and that spurred a further interest in wanting to kind of grow.
Artline expresses how great the drone team is doing as of now.
And right now, it's the healthiest that we've had. I have 3 teams of 4 to 5 students, so on average between 14 to 16 that are showing up every single morning, and we're getting ready for our first event of the season, which is Operation Rolling Thunder, and that's going to be taking place on November 7th, and we're hoping that we improve from last year's finish of 2nd place to clinching 1st place.
The drone team will have competed on Friday, December 5th. I'm Cooper Tutton, and this is Tribal Studios.
The Retro Arcade 1984 has brought new life to downtown Springfield.
It all started, we had a bunch of games, me and my brother and my brother-in-law, and we kind of wanted to get them all in one spot. And we kind of went through 2 iterations before we got here. We decided that we would try to find space to rent to put them all in. And when other people started hearing about it, they were asking if they helped play the rent. Could they also just come in and play the games? And then my brother actually used to work at an arcade in the 80s, and he was like, why don't we just open an arcade instead of renting a storage space to put them in? And that's kind of how we got here.
Since the arcade's founding in 2005, we learned how they became 1984.
My brother and brother-in-law came up with that name. It is the year that they graduated. That's one of the reasons. Another reason is because you can kind of throw some 1984 book references in there. We kind of do like Big Brother's Watching You and stuff like that. Another reason is 1984 is kind of considered the last good year of the arcade machines. 1985, when the Nintendo came out, you could start playing all this stuff at home. And so the arcades kind of started to dwindle at that point.
The founders are pleasantly surprised from the arcade's success.
I don't think any of us expected it to be still this popular 20 years into the future. You know, our first goal was the last 5 years and kind of go from there, and we're still going strong. So, and I will go another 20 if we can.
A good place for people to go of all ages, you know, so there's not many times that Grandpa, literally, Grandpa's age person can go in with a kid that's 8 years old, and we can compete on a video game that we both like to play.
It used to be the nostalgia. We used to have a lot of people come in because they hadn't seen these games before. But now that we've been here for a while, we're just kind of a staple downtown, and I think people come downtown and just come here because we've been here for so long. So they'll come here, hang out, and then go downtown and eat or watch a movie or something like that.
The owner's personal collection of retro arcade machines set down the stepping stones for the arcade.
Before we even decided to open an arcade, we had about 30 that we just collected over 30 years of just, you know, from the 80s up. And then once we kind of decided that we wanted to kind of start doing this, we kind of looked for them, and we've literally gotten them everywhere. We've gotten them anywhere from eBay, or it was kind of before Facebook Marketplace. So we'd find them different places online that people were selling them. And then once we got opened, we actually had people call us. Be like, hey, I've got these 2 games in my basement, do you want them? You know, and then we kind of went from there.
Keeping a retro arcade requires a unique amount of maintenance.
We do a lot of that ourselves. Jason's on that most of the time. Every day when you turn the power on, something's probably not working right. So it's constant maintenance. But these games are pretty reliable. I mean, you're talking about games that are older than most of the people that come in here. And for the most part, they can be cheaply repaired. There's some things that are very hard to find, though. Monitors are getting very hard to find. So that is a skill set that not many people have anymore, and finding people and technicians that understand electronics, vintage electronics, is a needed skill set.
1984 is always looking for new opportunities for celebrations and special events.
I don't know off the top of my head that we have anything future. We kind of just come up with stuff as it comes up. We're getting the downstairs set up for Stranger Things right now. We're kind of turning half of it into the Upside Down. And then we've got some New Year's Eve stuff that we're planning, and we're going to keep the Stranger Things going for at least through the new year, because the new season is through the new year. After that, I don't know. We'll come up with the next new thing after that.
You know, we've been here 20 years. I think people probably like it a little bit the way it is. I don't think we want to change the core of what we are, but I do like introducing new things. So if we can have some flex spaces or some areas that are in 84 that can change routinely, maybe do something different every year or 6 months, or maybe do more events.
The board of 1984 sees no end in sight.
It's basically been sustainable since the first weekend. So we kind of came into this thinking that if we all kind of threw in a little bit of money, we could keep it going. And luckily, we haven't had to do that. So we'll knock on all sorts of wood. But we survived COVID. If you could survive being close to COVID, I think you could survive anything.
I think as long as we continue to show up and we like being here and other people like being here, it'll just continue on.
When our lease is up, we'll all have that conversation and all of us want to keep going. So our end plan is to not end. So.
Straight from the 80s, I'm Aiden Bryant, and this has been Tribal Studios. New flock cameras are popping up all over the city of Willard. Emma Snyder and Garen Rosero address people's concerns.
The city of Willard is implementing new flock safety cameras. The city's mayor, Troy Smith, tells us more.
First of all, the police department wanted it. The police chief asked for it, and the board of aldermen agreed with him because my position personally is that anything that we can do to enhance public safety is a good thing. As you know, it's very expensive to hire police officers, and to be able to capture the amount of intelligence, if you will, by an individual officer compared to a camera that stays mounted 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, just makes good sense.
They quietly monitor the activities of the agency, and so it's no different with the flock system. We don't look at it unless there's a reason to. You know, it would be a waste of our time to sit at the computer screen and watch traffic as it flows in and out of town.
They're actually owned by the flock company and are leased to us. And the ones that we have now, the money for them is being provided through a statewide grant, all but $2,000.
52,000 and some change. So 50 of that was paid for by the grant, the state grant, the Blue Shield grant, and the 2,000 and some change was picked up by the city of Willard. And it's an annual renewing contract. So for every year, unless we expand or reduce the number of cameras that we have, we'll stay at 52,000. And so what the city's going to have to do is decide, has this system in the last year been productive enough for us to warrant spending $52,000 a year on? The citizens need to know that they're not used for traffic enforcement, with one exception. If, for example, there's a hit and run accident at one of our roundabouts, we have live camera feeds at those intersections. And what we would do in the event of leaving the scene of an accident is just go back to the time, see who done it, and solve the case in that way.
Willard High School students describe their opinions on the new flock cameras.
I think that they're fine. I think like the whole point of a traffic camera is to keep, to watch over everybody in the traffic. So I think that whether or not they're watching our speed, it's kind of I would say that it's kind of a good thing because they can make sure that people aren't being dangerous while driving.
Is with a lot of high schoolers coming to and from Willard, new drivers and stuff like that, it can be really easy to get into a car accident or be aware, especially after school and before school, it's very crowded on the roads. So it would help in a sense that people would be just more safer and be more observant of people around them driving.
This is Emma Snyder.
This is Chance Vilsaint. And I'm Garen Roseborough, and this has been Tribal Studios. Braden Price tells us all about the pros and cons of weightlifting.
Young weightlifters need tips. Mason Hillenberg has them.
It's really realizing this is a very slow process. Weightlifting is very tedious and a long game. So making little bits of progress each day, trying to improve little by little and realizing this is fully dependent on me and how consistent I am with it. That is a good mindset to have.
Calvin Young paves the way to results.
It's not, results, and it's not going to happen overnight at all, like whatsoever. Like, you got to work for it, and it's going to take time, consistency, and just effort. That's all. As long as you show up every day, even if you go bare minimum, as long as you show up, that's all that matters, and you're not going to see results overnight. So,
nutrition and training is a big aspect of weightlifting.
And it takes time, but it's not just what you put in the gym. It also matters what you eat in the kitchen. So if you want to get bigger, then you consume your calories more. You boost your calories up more. If you want to get lean, you do more cardio, or you cut down on some carbs. It's all that stuff. So it's not what you just do in the gym. It also matters what you consume in the kitchen. So
bodybuilding, powerlifting, who knows?
Originally, it was more of a bodybuilding style. That's just, in my opinion, the best way to put on mass, and a lot of people just want to be bigger. So if you want to get bigger, that's your main goal, bodybuilding. I did powerlifting for a little bit, mainly just because I wanted to see how a competitive scene would work. That went very well for me. But now I am back on a bodybuilding style of training. And I'm planning on competing next year.
Calvin Young, staying in shape.
I just want to stay in shape, honestly. I think I'd like to compete maybe here and then, but just stay in shape. I always want to be in shape. My worst fear is not to be in shape, so always stay in shape for any particular scenario or anything like that. So
there's a big difference in training.
Anyone can honestly weightlift. Now, there's a difference between weightlifting and just bodybuilding, honestly, because yeah, you can weightlift and hit the gym, like athletes weightlift too. You can weightlift, but bodybuilding's a whole different story. Honestly, I think you have to dedicate that.
Staying in shape. I'm Braden Price, and this has been Tribal Studios.
With Christmas just around the corner, Preston Williams and Josh Jensen tell us more.
Santa states that he loves that he can provide an escape, no matter how brief, from those harsh realities.
Actually, it was a friend of mine that just suggested that I would be a good Santa, and she was hosting, it was like a craft fair, and she invited me to come be their Santa, and so I decided to give it a try.
It was pretty annoying having to wait in line all the time, but in the end, it felt like it was worth it. Because I got to say my wishes and they finally came true at the end.
Yeah, I went to the mall about a week ago and I seen Santa there. He was looking very jolly as always. Yeah, so I don't think the mall Santa has aged at all, so probably got a new one.
A lot of Santas are retired, and so they'll do a lot more, but I still work a day job, so most of my stuff is evenings or weekends, and sometimes I take a little time off just to do some more Santa things around the holidays. But for the most part, it's evenings and weekends for me. Between November 1st and December, I average about 20 to 25 appearances. Places like Harmony House, the Drew Lewis Foundation. I do a couple of different school events, pro bono type work, and then the rest is things like public events or corporate parties or home visits. I also do a number of custom videos for children on Christmas Eve.
And this has been Josh Jensen and Preston Williams, and this is Tribal Studios.
I'm Aiden Bryant.
I'm Garen Roseborough. Thank you for tuning into Tribal Studios.